So here's the analogy Keller gave many years ago, and I loved it. It was brilliant. He said there's a woman who inherited jewelry from her mother. And it was jewelry she'd seen her mother wear as she grew up. And one day she was wearing one of the necklaces, and her friend saw it and said, I used to work for a jeweler. That's an incredibly rare piece you have. You should take it in and see what it's worth. And so she does. She takes it into a jeweler and says, hey, is this worth anything? The jeweler, stunned and in awe, says, do you understand what you just gave me? Turns out that she had a piece of jewelry that was worn by a queen centuries earlier, and its worth was in the tens of millions of dollars. Here's something that she's just had on her dresser, and she wears on Thursdays sometimes. And he hands it back to her, and he says, tens of millions of dollars, this is priceless. Now, what happens if this was you? What's sort of the first thing you do? You walk it straight to the safe. Can I get that in writing? Do you want to buy it? I'll take $10 million right now. Instantly, how you view the necklace, how you view this thing changes, doesn't it? Why? Because somebody showed you it had tremendous value. Before it had value. It had cultural value, traditional value. It was in your family, so it had familial value. But now, for the first time, you recognize that this thing has the potential to change your life. Are you getting where I'm going with this? So the first thing you do is emotional. Maybe you cry. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a millionaire. What? I'm a millionaire. And it's emotional. You're not just going to go home and throw it on the dresser. You're going to lock it in the safe. Right? Sometimes you wonder, where did I put that necklace? Not anymore. You know exactly where it is at all times. The second is volitional. It's how you change and work, right? All of a sudden, everything you do becomes different because you're no longer the person you were before. You're now somebody who has greater means than all the people in the world. And so what you do changes. And third, how you live your life changes. Nothing about the necklace has changed. It's still what it was. But now you can help people. You can get the surgery. You can buy a house. You can buy a second home, a third. Friends, when you come to see the value of Jesus, not just as your parents' religion or as my opportunity not to go to hell when I die or as something I should do so my kids are more moral, right? But when you yourself recognize the value of Him, that's when your world changes. That's when you begin to worship. That's when you don't care who's on your left or your right. To get on your knees before your God is a greater privilege than what anybody could say about you. To worship Him with joy, to shout, and to sing the song, even though you don't know the words, so you just shout out of tune and out of order. But you're in love with Jesus and you're here with other people who love Him too. Because you figure out His value. Do you hear me today? This is so it, guys. This is what it comes down to. The Psalm 95, the psalmist has figured out the value of God.